Today I'm going to reveal the 7 secrets on why toxic relationships keep you hooked for so long and why you are unable to get that relationship off your head. My name is Nancy Duarte, and I am a former family therapist with over 23 years of experience in this field. I was miserable and frustrated in the web of deceit. This was me before, when I couldn't stop wringing my hands, tearing out my hair, and biting my tongue. But now I have put an end to being controlled, and I'm beginning to feel good about myself again. While it's easy to be hard on yourself and look for ways to speed up the healing process, there are reasons why a toxic relationship keeps you hooked for so long to begin with. For me, my experiences often left me feeling like I was caught in a trap that I couldn't identify or escape. And I have learned that you often can't move on with your life or begin a new relationship after your toxic breakup when you struggle to let go of the relationship because the sex is hot. Your self-esteem has taken one hell of a hit when it causes you to believe no one else would want you. The highs of the relationship felt incredible enough to mask the lows. Your ex is a pro at making you feel like you ruined the relationship. You may have lost some close friends while in the relationship, and your brain is still figuring out how to trust people again. How can you fix those problems? Let me help you. I have just the solution. In this webinar, you're going to learn how not to let 10 years go by while you are stuck in your past toxic relationship and can't get them off your mind. That's right, I'm going to show you how to let go of the relationship and off your head, how to change the beliefs that you have of yourself, how the highs and lows of the relationship were a lie. All I ask in return is that you provide me with your name and email to continue watching. But why is it that no matter what they have done to you, you can't get them off your head? Was it their intense charm, the inexplicable charisma and potent characteristics even though they caused you pain? Did you fall in love so hard it felt as if you had given up part of your heart, like a drug you couldn't get enough of and it felt addictive? You were so excited to be invited to their risky schemes that you made choices outside your ordinary boundaries? Because when you were with them, they were very good at convincing you that you are the center of their universe? He started out by moving super quickly and you felt borderline obsessively admired 24/7. Life with your partner was spectacular. With his dazzling charm, he worked diligently to win your love and trust. Once he had you under his spell, he began using you to get whatever he wanted, when he wanted. And when you caught him in his lies, he seemed genuinely sorry, and it was hard not to forgive him. He will again turn on the flattery he demonstrated when he first captured your heart, and you may once again stay trapped. You may not know all the tactics he is up to, because he's incredibly well versed at reading and manipulating you. In addition, your partner knew exactly how to promote a sense of familiarity or intimacy by claiming you are both similar in some way. It felt like a reinforcement of everything every romantic movie ever told you. Love is and can easily be confused with finding your soulmate. You said things like this to your partner: "You know, I think you and I are a lot alike." Or, "It's so clear to me that you're my soulmate." Even though it wasn't true, it haunted your mind until this day nonetheless. He somehow had an uncanny sense of your vulnerability to a sexual overture and seduced you. For you, it was an emotional tie. But this was a tactic all along for your partner to get what he wanted. Oh, I know this all too well. It is quite typically represented by their spontaneity and risk-taking charm. They can easily make you feel that your tedious, rule-bound life is in for a more exhilarating form of existence. Hi, I'm Nancy Duarte. I'm a former family therapist turned life coach. I have been helping hundreds of women for the past 23 years. Abuse was my story, and I endured the abuse for 17 years. I was stuck in an abusive relationship, and I found the courage to change my life because I needed to prove to my 3 daughters that abuse was not okay. I was targeted by a sociopath, and it was a very frightening experience. I had to plan my exit, so I clearly understood the unique challenges and the aftermath of being married to a toxic person. It can destroy your life. That is why I have made it my passion to help women navigate and change their life into something beautiful. At this point, you may be asking yourself, do these people have the capacity to love? It's a question often asked, but the answer is bewildering since it has no rational explanation. And like the innocent victim, you come to the conclusion and you begin to lose faith partially or completely in your own perception. Hesitate to explain your story to others since trying to expose them casts doubts on your own credibility and maybe even on your own sanity. These doubts become painful and readily convince you to keep your mouth shut. Nothing sounds believable, so we think there must be a misunderstanding, or maybe you have greatly exaggerated something in your own observations. You can't seem to understand what motivates them to be such horrible people. In nearly every case, they will become controlling, manipulative, and abusive in a personal relationship. They'll enjoy making the other person feel bad, ruining their self-esteem, demeaning them, and alienating them from their family and friends. These people don't feel remorse. They're certainly not going to feel bad about what they're doing to their partner. Little did you know that your partner already identified you as a good game piece and an easy target. Your partner made it his business to know how he could manipulate and use you. To this end, they chose you as their pawn, and you were easily flattered and charmed. He may have used you for financial support, information, a sense of winning, or perhaps just a temporary relationship that appeared to be normal. This can be a recognized story and another one that repeats itself often in our literature and history. But seldom do we recognize the degree of power it bestowed upon you. Your partner was able to hide their tracks well, and you made one single mistake of consummating their attraction to the superficial charm that made them a dangerous partner. Their motive was to manipulate you through your heart. But wait a minute, this is only one aspect of their game. The moment you try to expose their behavior, they will seduce you once again, only to deceive you through their acting skills, because all they know to do well is deception and delusion. They know how to fill your void. They isolate you until you become the perfect victim and can't get them off your mind, because the perfect victim allows for the perfect chase. They are not direct early on. They will not risk stirring up a resistance that will never be lowered. They seduce you at an angle, indirectly. They move from a friend to a lover gradually. Then they target you into feeling secure and strike. They are proficient at acting as if they were employed by Hollywood. They draw you closer and make you hungry to possess you. They create an aura of desirability, of being wanted and courted by many. It will become a point of vanity for them to be the preferred object of your attention, to win you away from a crowd of admirers. A perfectly satisfied person cannot be seduced, so they create tension and disharmony to instill themselves in your mind. They stir within you feelings of discontent and unhappiness with your circumstances and yourself. They make you feel inadequate to make them see you as the answer to their problems. One minute, you may have felt like you're everything your partner has ever wanted, and in a matter of seconds, you're left wondering what on earth went wrong. But when they are done using you, they have no difficulty casting you aside like a worn-out shoe. There is no apology or remorse, regardless of how long your relationship was. And watch out, if they do return, it will be because they realize they can still get something from you. No matter what you do, you can't get them off your mind. Why? Because they have known how to lure you, their target, into a deep seduction by creating the proper temptation, a glimpse of the pleasures to come. As the serpent tempted Eve with the promise of forbidden knowledge, they awaken a desire that cannot be controlled by their targets. They found your weaknesses, that fantasy that has yet to be realized, and hint that they can lead you toward it. They have always known how to keep it vague. They have known how to stimulate a curiosity stronger than the doubts and anxieties that go with it, and you will follow through. How do you break the spell and get them off your head? The moment you know what is expected from them. Taking your power back. Keeping the upper hand by creating suspense, a calculated surprise. Doing something they do not expect from you will give them a delightful sense of shock. They will not be able to foresee what comes next. Always staying one step ahead and in control, giving the victim a thrill with a sudden change of direction. Ever cross paths with someone with a toxic personality? They tend to leave a lasting impression. Yes, I have seen it in my practice and through my own psychological trauma. But the most asked question is, how can I tell whom to trust? This is not a surprising concern. It's a pressing issue, not only for those who have endured a toxic relationship, but also for those who have experienced it. We are often interested in the conscience level of people we have close relationships with, especially when we meet an attractive person. We often invest considerable mental energy and lack of suspicion over again and wishful thinking concerning this question. Unfortunately, as women, we tend to make crucial decisions about other people based on mere guesswork that leads us to irrational thinking and lifelong superstitions. You hear things like, don't trust a man or anyone. Unless you have known someone for many years, trustworthiness is not guaranteed, and it's important to acknowledge that fact. There isn't one person who can get around that. When it comes to trusting people, we all make mistakes. Only some of these mistakes are larger than others. However, the good news is that toxic people make up for less than 5% of the population. In other words, our interpersonal world should be about 96% safe. Yes, after a toxic relationship, there are many pieces to pick up, maybe even a deficient bank account or a broken heart. But there's almost always an extreme depletion of energy. And once you recognize that you have invited a toxic person into your life, things will never be the same. Walking away from them for good is the best thing you can do for yourself. Now, this course is designed to guide you on the path to real and deep healing from toxic, narcissistic abuse and relationships. At present, these people are incurable, or rather almost never to be cured. This is probably the most difficult for most people to accept. They reflect our insecurities, self-doubts, tendency to overgive, and feelings of unworthiness. However, once you learn the very loud lessons of these types of relationships, you can heal to a depth you may not have known existed. Toxic relationships contain much information and are a valuable asset when we are ready to make a life-changing transformation. In this course, you will be able to explore yourself at your deepest layers, you'll be able to get out of your mind and into your life. You will be able to overcome acceptance, transform your emotional pain, free yourself from negative thinking and self-judgment, and live a life you value. This course will show you how to identify if you are in a toxic relationship and show you how to navigate or potentially end it. Release ties and cords and accept your pain to rid yourself of your emotional suffering. Start living the life you want to live right now. Heal to the core and permanently release patterns that do not serve you. Embrace empowerment and self-confidence. Learn to accept and move forward. Who should take this course? Anyone who would like to understand the signs and traits of narcissists and the impact they have on relationships. Someone who feels undervalued, unheard, or marginalized and wants to connect with their higher self and belief system for greater happiness and satisfaction in life. People who are currently or were in a relationship with a narcissist and are looking to heal from the experience. Individuals who want guidance on navigating or ending a toxic relationship with self-love and confidence. Anyone who would like to reveal their most valuable pieces of themselves to gain the clarity and strength to be heard and get the attention they deserve in all aspects of their life. Persons looking to restore themselves from the impact of an unhealthy relationship, past or present, with the help of abuse recovery. Those who want to avoid developing unbalanced and destructive dynamics in their current or future relationships. Women who would like to practice mindfulness and self-love techniques to gain a better understanding of themselves, feel empowered, and step into their individuality. Get ready to break free of toxic relationships, connect with your deeper emotions, and gain a deeper understanding of the expanded version of your experiences with all the tools you need in every aspect of your life. Let's get you started. Let me rewind for a second so you fully understand what happened. Understand a major part of a toxic relationship is an example of something that is difficult to detect from inside a relationship. This is due to the constant manipulation at the hands of a toxic partner. They will alternate sex as a positive experience which will strengthen, making it more and more difficult for you to recognize. It is their tactic to condition you to continuously forgive them so that it can be nearly impossible to finally leave, causing you to feel stuck. Recognizing the flags and protecting yourself from these toxic patterns can safely move you forward. Self-worth. One of the common risk factors which is difficult to reestablish is the ability to empower yourself after a toxic relationship. It is the realization that you need to let go and detoxify yourself from the relationship. Not good enough. 75% of those who are currently in a toxic relationship or broke up said after all the insults and put-downs, they felt like a worthless failure. So know that their abuse had nothing to do with you. Validate your profound emotions and allow yourself to feel whole, healthy, and authentic in who you are today. Mood swings. It is common knowledge that most people who come from a toxic relationship crave the sense of fulfillment and validation that comes from being in a relationship, no matter how destructive. The high comes from love addiction. It is very similar to what we see in gambling addiction, which is built around variable reinforcement. The relationship, which once started in a honeymoon-like state, devolves to mostly negative interactions. Then bam, There is one good experience that seems to make up for all the destructive ones. Set healthy boundaries between yourself and others in close personal relationships. Guilt. Your ex is a pro at making you feel like you ruined the relationship. Toxic people do toxic things. They thrive on control, not the loving, healthy control that tries to keep everyone safe and happy, like buckling your seatbelt. Everything they do is to keep people small and manageable. This will play out through criticism, judgment, and oppression. Whatever it takes to keep someone in their place. The more you try to step out of your place, the more a toxic person will take on toxic behavior to bring you back and squash you into that tiny box they believe you belong in. In order for guilt to work, we have to agree with the guilt, but break down the two main barriers, vulnerability and fear. If we are afraid of being vulnerable, it is because we are afraid of being rejected. Losing friends. Breaking with a spouse or significant other, especially after a long term, has collateral damage. There will always be people you'll have to prepare to lose once the trigger has been pulled and one of you walks away. You need to make the choice to call it quits for good. You need to be ready for the debris the outsiders will leave behind and say goodbye to those friends. Agony. Your brain is still figuring out how to trust people again. If you're fresh out of a relationship that ended badly, it can feel like your whole dating philosophy needs to be revamped, particularly if you're going to try again. Learning to trust is often the hardest part of deciding to get back in the dating scene. Whether you were cheated on or feel blindsided and betrayed by the breakup. But it is possible to trust again. It just takes work. Trusting is a decision you consciously make. It shouldn't feel like it's just happening to you. Use your experience to inform your future loved ones, identify your new values and expectations, and be realistic. Being open to others is a good way to start. Don't think of your experience as baggage. What's inside? You'll unlock training videos, resources, and worksheets in your course, time-saving tools, move at your own pace, call to action on each assignment, personalized learning. Plus, jump on live group coaching with Nancy Duarte once a week for 30 days. Support from Nancy Duarte. The Road Less Travel course is fast and effective. This program is not about consuming endless hours of content. It's about implementation and results. Bonus 1. Group session for 90 days. Group coaching, where the focus is on deepening awareness in planning and charting your life. You'll also learn to develop goals and identify the action steps to move forward. Bonus 2. Complimentary workshop. Participants will gain new knowledge and a roadmap to divorce, allowing them to practice their new skills and abilities with feedback from Nancy, the divorce coach. Bonus 3, Facebook support group. A private Facebook support group where the goal is to share your breakup stories, experiences, and resources. Thank you.